45-year-old man is behind bars after police say he killed a 22-year-old woman and injured his own 23-year-old son in a shooting. Gnarls Brown Sr. has been charged.
It's after midnight in Mishawaka, Indiana. A birthday party is ending at Gnarls Brown Sr.'s house. His son, Tyrese Brown, and Tyrese's pregnant girlfriend, Asia Phillips, are there. They're young, full of life, expecting a baby boy. But in minutes, everything changes. Gnarls makes a call to 911. Not to save anyone, but before he picks up a gun. Did he want police to see what he'd do next? Or was this a plan all along? Gunshots break the silence. Tyrese is bleeding. Asia is gone. A father's party turns into a crime scene, and a family is torn apart forever. It's February 25th, 2025, in Mishawaka, Indiana, a small city east of South Bend. Gnarls Brown Sr., a 45-year-old father, invites his 23-year-old son, Tyrese Brown, and Tyrese's pregnant girlfriend, Asia Phillips, to a birthday party at his house on Division Street. It's a family event full of hope with Asia carrying their baby. But around 2 a.m. on February 26th, things change fast. An argument starts between Gnarls and Tyrese. Voices get loud. Then Gnarls grabs a gun. He shoots Tyrese, leaving him hurt. Next, he aims at Asia. She falls dead along with their unborn child. This case hits hard. It's not just the violence. It's that Gnarls, a father Tyrese once called stand up, did this to his own family. Hey everyone, welcome to True Crime Anatomy. I'm so glad you're here with us today. To my amazing subscribers, thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for sticking with us. May your families stay safe, no matter where you are. To everyone else, please hit that subscribe button, like, and share. This channel is all about true crime from every corner of the world. We work hard every day to bring you stories. Some you've never heard, some you've never seen. Real crimes, real people, happening all the time. Now, let's get into today's story. Asia Phillips was just 23 years old when her life was tragically stolen from her. A young woman with a gentle spirit, she was pregnant with the child she and her boyfriend, Tyrese Brown, had longed for. Asia had always dreamt of motherhood, and now her future seemed full of hope. She and Tyrese had already begun planning their life together, raising their son, a little boy they were so eager to welcome into the world. To those who knew her, Asia wasn't just a young woman. She was a bright light, always full of love, kindness, and laughter. She was someone who genuinely cared for the people around her, always giving without hesitation. Tyrese Brown, also 23, had a close relationship with his parents. He was a loyal son who deeply respected his family, especially his father, Gnarls Brown Sr. On social media, he often expressed his admiration for his parents. For Father's Day, Tyrese wrote a post that said, "Happy Father's Day. I'm a spittin' image of you. Thanks for being in our lives since birth. Real stand-up." These were more than just words. These were expressions of the respect and love Tyrese had for his father. Tyrese had always viewed his dad as a role model, someone to look up to. He admired his father's strength, his presence in their lives, and the lessons he had learned from him over the years. On his mother's birthday, Tyrese wrote another heartfelt message. "Happy birthday. I appreciate you giving us life. You're getting younger by the year." His love for both of his parents was clear in these posts. Tyrese was proud of his family, and he made sure they knew it. He celebrated them not just on holidays, but in everyday life, showing his gratitude and love for everything they had done for him. Tyrese and Asia's bond was inseparable. They weren't just a couple, they were each other's everything. They had been through life's challenges side by side. From hardships to victories, they faced everything together. Tyrese would often share just how deeply he loved Asia, writing on social media, "We got our first house together, graduated together, she was my everything." The joy of building a life with someone you love is unmatched, and Tyrese and Asia had done just that. They had overcome obstacles, celebrated milestones, and created a future for themselves. In one of his posts, Tyrese described Asia as the most sweetest, most loving angel on earth. For him, Asia wasn't just a girlfriend, she was the most important person in his life. She was his best friend, his confidant, and his partner. Together, they navigated the highs and lows of life, and their love was the foundation of everything they did. For Tyrese, Losing her wasn't just the loss of a relationship, it was the loss of his world, his future, and the mother of his child. Asia's tragic death left a void that could never be filled. Tyrese, deeply in love with her, had always dreamed of a future where they would raise their son together, build a family, and grow old side by side. But that future was stolen from him in the most brutal way. The life they were planning to create, the home they had bought, the dreams of parenthood, the joy of raising their child together were all gone in an instant. It was a loss that no one, least of all Tyrese, could have ever imagined. His grief, compounded by the loss of their unborn child, was immeasurable. Now, let's take a look at Narles Brown Sr., the man who shattered their lives. Narles was a father, a figure who should have been the protector of his children. He was a 45-year-old man who had been part of his son's life since birth, as Tyrese had written on social media. Narles had always been there, or so it seemed. For years, he had been the father figure, the one who taught his son lessons, shared moments, and provided a sense of security. But there was a dark side to this family that no one expected to see. Despite what appeared to be a loving relationship, there was tension beneath the surface. Narles and Tyrese had their disagreements, their arguments, but nothing prepared anyone for the violent act that would occur that night. Narles' relationship with his son, though seemingly strong at times, was also strained. Tyrese's post on Father's Day reflected admiration, but there were hints of tension in their relationship as well. Tyrese once referred to his father in a post as a pussy who I'm nothing like, suggesting deep resentment and anger that had built up over time. What caused this shift? What was the cause of the bitterness that simmered underneath the surface of what seemed like a close father-son bond? The tragedy of this story isn't just the loss of life. It's the betrayal of a father who turned on his own flesh and blood. Narles was supposed to be a protector, not a destroyer. What drove him to make that choice? What led to the breakdown of a family that had once seemed so strong? These are the questions that remain unanswered, leaving behind only grief, heartbreak, and confusion for those who loved Asia and Tyrese. It's February 25th, 2025, on Division Street in Mishawaka, Indiana. The day starts happy. Narles Brown Sr., 45 years old, throws a birthday party at his house. The house is full. Tyrese Brown, his 23-year-old son, is there. Asia Phillips, Tyrese's 23-year-old girlfriend, is with him. She's pregnant, carrying their little boy. They're part of the crowd, laughing, talking, eating cake. It's a family thing, a night to feel close. Hours go by, the clock ticks past midnight into February 26th. Around 2 a.m., the mood shifts. Something happens between Narles and Tyrese. They start arguing, voices get loud, sharp. Neighbors hear it through the walls. They tell police later, "We've heard them argue before." But this time, it's not the same. It's heavier, louder, different. Narles isn't calming down. He's mad, really mad. He walks away from the fight for a moment, then he comes back with a gun in his hand. Nobody knows where he got it. Not the police, not the papers. It's just there, real, loaded. Before anything else, Narles does something strange. He picks up his phone. He calls 911. He doesn't say "help me" or "stop this." Charging papers say he calls to get police on scene quicker. It's like he wants them to come fast to see what he's about to do. The call ends. The house goes quiet for a second, then bang. A gunshot cuts through the night. Tyrese, his own son, drops. Blood's on him, soaking his clothes. He's hurt bad, fighting to breathe. Asia's there, close by. She sees it happen. She screams, loud, scared, begging. Asia turns to run. She's fast, but not fast enough. Narles lifts the gun again. He aims at her, his son's girlfriend, the mother of his grandson. Another shot. Bang. Asia falls. She hits the ground still. Her baby boy, the one Tyrese wanted so bad, goes with her. The street's not quiet anymore. Neighbors wake up, hearts pounding. They hear the shots, the yells. One grabs a phone, calls 911, says, "Shots fired. Someone's screaming on Division." Another says, "It's bad out there." The calls flood in, panicked, real. Outside, it's messy. Police say Tyrese and Asia are found near a car. Maybe they tried to get away. Maybe they were just there. Blood's on the pavement, dark under the streetlights. The gun's close, dropped, or left behind. Narles doesn't hide. He's near the house, maybe behind it, maybe still in sight. He's not running, not fighting. The party's over. What's left is Tyrese, barely hanging on, and Asia gone forever. Division Street, a place folks call home, turns into something else that night, a place no one forgets. This isn't just a fight gone wrong. It's a father, a son, a young woman with a baby inside her. It's a night that starts with cake and ends with bullets. Tyrese loved his dad once, called him stand up. Asia loved Tyrese, built a life with him. Now, one's bleeding, one's dead, and Narlis stands there, gun in hand. The neighbors hear it all. The shots, the cries. They'll tell police later, it happened so fast. But for Tyrese and Asia, those minutes change everything. Police cars speed onto Division Street, lights flashing bright. It's just after 2 a.m. on February 26, 2025. Mishawaka, usually a quiet town, now echoes with sirens as officers rush to the scene. Tyrese Brown, 23, is badly hurt from a bullet. His girlfriend, Asia Phillips, also 23 and pregnant with their son, is clinging to life. Narlis Brown Sr., Tyrese's 45-year-old father, is found nearby. He isn't running or trying to escape, just standing there, calm. Ambulance crews quickly rush Tyrese and Asia to the hospital. Tyrese is taken into surgery, but Asia doesn't survive. Her life and the life of the child she carried are taken too soon. The Mishawaka Police Major Crimes Unit jumps into action. They know this case is serious. Their first clue? The 911 call Narlis made before the shooting. Why did he call for help before he even pulled the trigger? Did he plan this? Or was it a crime of passion? The investigation deepens when the gun used is traced back to Narlis. Later, this would add a firearm enhancement charge. But where did that gun come from? Police aren't saying yet. Witnesses from the party, family, and neighbors start to speak. They say the argument between Narlis and Tyrese escalated quickly. Someone saw Narlis go inside, come back with a gun, and follow Tyrese and Asia outside. But no one saw when he pulled the trigger. The whole event is a blur. Evidence piles up. Shell casings, blood near a car. Maybe Tyrese and Asia tried to leave, but the gun is left behind. It's all important now. By 9 a.m., Narlis is arrested and booked into St. Joseph County Jail.
Narlis Brown Sr. has been charged with murder and attempted murder for his role in a shooting early Wednesday morning in the 700 block of Division Street. Police were called to the area around 2 a.m. on reports of gunshots fired and people screaming. We are learning that Brown Sr. called 911 before shots were even fired in an attempt to get police on scene quicker. But it wasn't long after that call that he fired shots. When officers arrived, they found a man and a woman suffering from gunshot wounds.
The charges come fast. Murder for Asia's death, attempted murder for Tyrese. The evidence is stacking up. Witnesses, the 911 call, and the gun. Tyrese, still recovering in the hospital, fights for his life. Asia's family is left devastated. Her autopsy, set for February 27th, confirms the gunshot wounds took her life. The lead detective on the case is now left with the grim task of piecing it all together. A family celebration, hours earlier, has turned into a violent crime scene. Neighbors, once accustomed to a quiet neighborhood, are now left in disbelief. The Major Crimes Unit continues to gather information, searching for every clue, every detail. The case is raw and fresh, and they won't stop until the truth is fully uncovered. Tyrese, in the midst of all this pain, once wrote about his father, "Thanks for being in our lives since birth, Pops." A son's love for his father, now shattered by an act of violence. And Asia? She was everything to Tyrese. "We did it all together," he said online. But now she's gone, and he's left fighting for his life while his father is locked in a jail cell. The story is far from over. The police continue to piece it together, step by step, trying to understand what led a father to commit such an unforgivable act against his own flesh and blood. Division Street, once a peaceful place, will never be the same. Narlis Brown Sr. is the only suspect. There's no one else who fits. But the big question is why? Why would a father do something like this to his own son and his son's girlfriend? Theory 1. Rage. Maybe the argument between father and son was fueled by alcohol or something deeper, and things simply got out of control. Tyrese had hinted at tension when he called his father a pussy who I'm nothing like, suggesting there had been some serious resentment building between them. Was this outburst the result of years of unresolved anger? Theory 2. Premeditation. Narlis made that 911 call before the shooting. It's not what you'd expect from someone in a moment of panic. It almost seemed like he wanted an audience. or to ensure there were consequences to his actions? Was this about pride, a need for control, or something else entirely? No other suspects have emerged. The party guests, the neighbors, everyone was shocked, but none of them were involved in the shooting. The evidence against Narles is clear: shell casings, witness accounts, and his own presence at the scene. Yet the question of why still hangs in the air, unanswered. A criminologist might say this was an act of domestic escalation, but it's rare to see such violence against his own son and a pregnant girlfriend. It's an almost unimaginable situation. Mishawaka is left in shock. The quiet that once defined Division Street is shattered. The community, which had always prided itself on its peacefulness, is now haunted by the violence that occurred there. Tyrese, still healing physically, shared a heartbreaking post. "Just found out we was having a little boy. I can't live you out, ha." The loss of Asia and their unborn child weighs heavily on him. Asia's family has remained silent, their grief kept private. The pain of losing a daughter, a sister, and a future grandchild is something they carry quietly, though it is no less intense. Narles's callous act ripples through the neighborhood. Neighbors, once trusting, now question their safety. The idea that someone they knew, a man who had been part of their community, could commit such an act leaves a stain on the very fabric of the street. The trust that once held families together now feels fragile. Psychologists might call this a rare case of paternal filicide, a father killing his own child. But for Tyrese, this act of betrayal cuts deeper. He once called his father real stand-up facho, someone to look up to, and now that same man has shattered everything he believed in. The community waits for answers, hoping for clarity as Narles' trial approaches in June. But for those left behind, no answer can undo the damage done. A birthday party ends with Narles Brown Sr. holding a gun. His son, Tyrese Brown, is shot, hurting. Asia Phillips, an angel to Tyrese, is gone. Her little boy, too. Was it anger that made Narles do it? Was it payback? Or something we can't figure out? Narles waits in jail for his trial, June 23, 2025. But Tyrese and Asia's story stops here, unfinished, broken. What do you think? What pushed Narles to this that night? Did Tyrese ever think his dad, who he called Stand Up, could do this? Tell me below, what's the truth here? Hit subscribe for more true crime stories like this. Let's keep Asia's name out there remembered. Like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with friends. Tell us, was this planned, that 911 call first? Or did Narles just lose it? Will justice be enough for Asia and her baby boy? I want to hear from you. Tyrese wrote, "I love you, baby, and I'm so sorry. Let's talk about it together."